not only makes instant Mirrored Lage tokens, but also kills planeswalkers. Welcome back, George Cluners. Today we are bringing you the last in our Commander 2015 PreCon deck series. As we mentioned last time, this time we are featuring the experienced commanders, as in the guys who give you experience when you do something. Some are easier to get experience up than others. Looking at you, Calamity. Anyway, for this game, starting from the top down, we have Chris playing Mizzix of the Is Magnus. I'm still not a fan of the experienced commanders, but I will say this guy seems better than your previous choice for this style is a deck, Melik. Throw in a bunch of small instants and sorcerers to get your experience count up quickly, and then draw into your big spells to finish off the game. What's amazing about Mizzix's ability is that the price reduction actually helps out with things like X spells, kicker, and overload costs, making his ability especially relevant. Next, we welcome back Brian. You remember we played his Star Wars cube a couple months ago. Today, he's returned to play Daxos the Return. This guy is a bit like Luminarch Ascension on a creature, although maybe not as blatant since attacking him doesn't stop his ability. A lot of people play enchantment-based decks that have a lot of enchantments but just don't really go anywhere because enchantments don't really attack, for the most part. With enough utility and defensive enchantments, this guy can come in late game if you have enough mana and finish off your opponents. We'll see how Daxos does. Next, everyone knows Josh. Hi Josh. Josh is playing Azuri Claw of Progress. Josh really knows Simic decks with small creatures, if you recall some of our past games with Josh playing Edric. Ugh. Azuri's ability seems powerful also, but I do have some complaints. The fact that it's specifically 2 powerless creature really bottlenecks the type of decks you can play, and again, it is reminiscent of Edric. Also, you have to get through to combat. If Azuri dies before then, you get nothing. At least Daxos and Mizzix's ability, you can do it in response. Finally, the counters go on only one creature, making spot removal Azuri's worst nightmare. However, Simic does have quite a few targets for his ability with guys like Glenelander Archmage and Woodfall Primus, neither of which are actually in the deck, but this guy is. Good luck to Josh. Next we have yours truly playing... Okay, so I was past Calamity, Disciple of Iroas, because it was the last choice. No one actually picked her. Also, I think this is the first time you've seen me play a Boros deck on this channel, so that should tell you something right there. And finally, we have Rob playing the Commander 2015 All-Star, Marin of Clan Nel Toth. Long name much? Marin is the only one of the experienced commanders whose ability works without experience. It's only a matter of the creature going into play or into your hand. And the experience is triggered whenever a creature you control dies, and no restrictions on the creature itself. Probably the easiest of all the commanders to level up, especially in Golgari colors. That and Rob is also a very good player, so we'll see how deadly he is this game. Opening hands.
Alright, let's do it!
Turn 1, Rob, Chris, and Brian play tap lands, Josh and I play basic lands. Turn 2, Rob does not have a land that comes in play untapped for his turn 2 Tribe Elder, so instead plays Vivid Marsh. Turn 2 Signet from Brian, Josh also has a turn 2 ramp with Rampant Growth. Turn 3, Rob casts his Tribe Elder and then bounces a land with Golgari Rot Farm. Brian is the first to cast his commander this game, Daxos the Returned. He waits to cast his arena next turn so that he can get the experience from Daxos. Josh is the second to cast his commander, Azuri Claw of Progress. I cast Boros Cluestone, and Rob sacks his Elder for a basic land. Turn 4. Rob casts his commander, Marin of Clan Nel Toth, and replays his Golgari Guildgate. Rob then returns the Tribe Elder to his hand at his end step. That is nuts. On his turn, Chris casts Brainstorm and then casts Thought Vessel. Brian casts Orzhov Cluestone. and then casts his Phyrexian Arena, getting the first experience counter of the game. Not a lot of attacking going on so far. Okay, so Josh has a very nice play coming up here. He casts Patagia Viper, which makes 2 1/1 Simic Snakes when it enters, and as a result, Josh gets 3 experience counters all at the same time. Josh then goes to combat, putting 3 +1 counters on the flying snake. Not too shabby. Josh then gets in first blood of the game also by attacking Chris for 3 with his commander. For my first relevant play of the game, I cast Super Sarah Angel, also known as Herald of the Host, who has Myriad. Turn 5. Rob casts his Sakura Tribe Elder, plays Vivid Grove, and returns a creature card to his hand at his end step. Chris casts his commander, Mizzix of the Is Magnus, on his turn, leaving up a blue mana. Brian loses a life on his upkeep from Phyrexian Arena and draws an extra card. He casts Shielded by Faith on Daxos, making it indestructible and getting a second experience counter. Josh has another very nice play on his turn when he plays Reliquary Tower, and then casts Prime Speaker Zagana, but not wanting Josh to get too far ahead, Rob putrefies the Patagia Viper, so Josh draws 2 cards less with Zagana. Josh's commander just suddenly got so much bigger. Well, that's Simic for you. Azuri pumps a snake, and Josh attacks Rob with the snake and Chris with Azuri. Rob blocks the snake with the Tribe Elder and then sacks to find a land, and Chris repeals the snake back to Josh's hand anyway to draw a card and give him his first experience counter of the game. Chris takes another 3 commander damage from Azuri. On my turn, I attack Josh with the SSA, trigger Myriad, and everyone else takes 4 damage. I am then the last to join the Commander Club when I cast Kalemni, Disciple of Iroas. Turn 6. Rob goes nuts this turn when he casts Wall of Blossoms to draw a card, Eternal Witness to return Putrefy to hand, and then casts Skull Clamp and equips it to the Witness to draw 2 cards and add an experience counter. At his end step, Rob then returns the Tribe Elder to play, whom he can then sack to get a 3rd counter. Chris casts Word of Seizing to take Rob's commander since he is getting out of hand. He then attacks me with it so that I will block and kill it. I block with my Super Sarah Aang. Brian makes a 2/2 Spirit at Chris's end step. Brian loses life during his upkeep and draws an extra card. Brian casts Seal of Doom and gets another experience. On his turn, Josh plays Simic Guildgate, and then is tired of taking damage every turn from the Herald of the Attack Everyone's Face, and Desert Twisters it. Before Josh goes to combat, Chris Factor Fictions for 2 mana and gets his 3rd experience. Josh pumps a token and then attacks Rob all out. Rob blocks 2 of the creatures and takes 4 damage. I cast Hamlet Back Goliath on my turn, getting my first experience counter of the game. I then attack Josh for 8 with my commander, since he killed my angel. Turn 7. Rob equips his wall, recasts his commander, ends the turn, and returns Scuba Steve to play. I grow my Hamlet Back Goliath each time. It's currently a 10/10. Chris casts Call the Skybreaker, getting another experience, and a 5/5 flying elemental. My Hamlet Black Goliath is so big. Brian makes a 3/3 Spirit at Chris's end step. I agree not to attack Brian if he doesn't shoot my guy with his Seal of Doom. Brian casts both Underworld Connections and Daxos' Torment, getting 2 more experiences. Brian then attacks me for 5 with the Flying Enchantment creature. On Josh's turn, he pumps Zagana and attacks Chris. Zuri got 3 experience counters right away this game, but not any since. Josh attacks Chris, who doesn't block, and Josh ninjutsus Ninja of the Deep Hours into play, returning Zagana back to hand. Another fine play. Chris takes 2 damage. I up the Goliath count and Josh's experience, and he draws a card. I cast Thought Vessel and a Borderland Behemoth, but Josh gets afraid and Mystic snakes it, again upping his experience. I get experience too though, since I did cast it. I then attack Josh with both my guys in retaliation. He blocks both of them. I want to attack Rob, but currently my guys can't get through effectively. Rob Golgari charms at the end of my turn to shoot Brian's Shielded by Faith. Rob again sacks his Tribe Elder, again raising his experience. Turn 8. Rob plays Wood Elves, gets a Forest, clamps it, draws, experiences, and then casts Corozda Guildmage, and somehow everyone's not attacking Rob. Rob passes again without attacking, yet again, but does return Eternal Witness to play and gets Golgari Charm back. Chris casts Rider Replication, kicked on my Goliath, and in response, Brian shoots it with his seal. It never even got to kill anyone. Chris passes but is out of blue mana. Brian loses his life from the arena and casts a Johnny's Chosen. Brian casts Night Howler, or I think he bestows it, adding to his experience and making a 2/2 cat token. Daxos' Torment is again a creature and Brian attacks Rob with it. Josh casts Bane in Progress, destroying artifacts and enchantments, getting rid of Rob's Skull Clamp, and 7 things of Brian. Josh casts Oren Viper. Going to combat, Rob putrefies Zuri before so that no bonuses get distributed. On my turn, I cast Victory's Herald, gain experience, and attack Chris with Calamity. I want to attack Rob, but he's got way too many chumps out, and Calamity has 0 evasion. Chris chumps with his Elemental. Turn 9. Rob gains a life from Jungle Hollow. Rob has a devastating play this turn when he casts Thief of Blood, who is nothing short of nuts, taking all the counters from all permanents and giving it like plus 19. And it flies. And kills Planeswalkers. Rob returns Wood Elves to play and gets a Forest at his instep with Marin's ability. Chris casts Stolen Goods for 1, targeting me, getting a Boros Signet. Stolen Goods, that's just not a good card. Chris casts Charmbreaker Devils. Brian casts Open the Vault, undoing the damage from Josh's Bane in Progress, but it's actually going to help Rob out more, who returns Skull Clamp to play. Brian gets a bunch of cats when the enchantments enter. Brian wants to attack Rob before he runs away with this game, but Rob's 1919 flyer is kind of stopping him. Josh recasts his commander and adds 6 counters to his Viper. Not being able to get past Rob's defenses, Josh passes. On my turn, I notice how out of control, everyone else's board is pretty much at the moment. I cast Angel of Serenity, exiling 2 things in my yard and Rob's Vampire. In response, Rob sacks it to his Guildmage to make 19 1/1 Saprolings. Okay, so I screw up my attack here. I attack Rob with the Angel and Josh with Calamity, since I couldn't get through to Rob, or so I thought. Later I realized that the Herald gives all my guys flying in addition to the lifelink. Rob takes 4 and I gain 11 life. Rob gets out of hand the rest of this game, by the way. Turn 10. Rob tries to win the game this turn by casting Pathbreaker Ibex and Greavesing it up, but Brian shoots it with his Seal of Doom in response. Rob draws so many cards with Skull Clamping dudes and upping his experience count each time. Rob casts Bloodspore Thrynax, devouring his Saprolings, giving it Intimidate and Haste, and attacking Brian for 22, putting him to 7. Marin returns Thief of Blood, taking all counters again and pissing off Josh. On his turn, Chris teams up with Rob to take control of Rob's big guy and attacking Josh for 3. Brian does nothing on his turn. Josh draws a bunch with Zagana again. On my turn, I tried to put Rob to 3, but Chris continues to be Rob's buddy, bouncing my commander back to my hand. Rob takes 11 and I gain 11 life. Turn 11. Rob continues to draw all the cards on his turn with Skull Clamp. We don't think he's able to kill us all this turn, but he does attack Brian with his Hasty Extractor Demon for 7, killing him. On Chris's turn, he casts Mizzix Mastery Overloaded, which is nuts, recasting every spell he's cast this game already. He Rider replications my Angel of Serenity to exile my guys and steals other guys and attacks Josh for lethal and me for 7, gaining 7 from lifelink. I recast Calamity and Rob putrefies my Victory's Herald. Turn 12. Rob continues doing things, making guys, sacking guys, drawing cards, casts Barter in Blood, killing my last 2 guys. Rob mills himself from Extractor Demon pretty much every time anything dies. Rob attacks me for 13 and gets back his Ibex at his instep with Marin's ability. Chris draws like 13 cards on his turn from Blue Sun Zenith. Chris then attacks me for 12 since I am currently the threat. I cast Dream Pillager and pass. Turn 13. Rob's Ibex totally tabled, so he pumps his Extractor Demon 5 times and then attacks, giving all his guys plus 10 now. Pathbreaker Ibex is the new creator of Behemoth. Rob attacks me and Chris, but Chris Magma Quakes for like 17, killing all the guys coming at him, although I take 20 since the guy flies. But I get stuff back to my hand when Chris's Angel of Serenity dies because Rob has Butcher of Malakir on the table. On Chris's turn, Rob has 22 cards left in his library and Chris casts Blue Sun Zenith after recasting Mizzix and makes Rob draw 8 cards. And then Chris casts some spell to deal me lethal in damage. Turn 14, the last turn of the game. Rob casts Centaur Vinecrasher for like 11 counters, severs Chris's commander, and attacks for 23. Rob recasts Marin and returns Jared to the battlefield. Chris Blue Sun Zenith for 3, and then on his turn is about to cast Windfall to make Rob mill out the rest of his deck, but Rob sacks the Centaur with Jared in response, making Chris lose 12 life. Killing him and winning the game for the deck everyone expected to win, Marin of Clan Nel Toth. For your recap, no deck really did that much damage. Brian barely attacked anyone all game. Josh attacked a few times, and most of Rob's attacks were much later in the game. I was attacking as much as I could. The problem with my deck was that my giants were huge targets and easy to disrupt, with people dealing with my threats while letting Rob's go. Once Chris and Rob teamed up, it was basically over for the rest of us. Chris was close to milling Rob out at the end of the game since that was probably the best chance he had. Chris did not play too many creatures that game and was pretty much all in on the Mizzix experience counter plan. What was odd about this game was that most of our commanders tended to stay on the field for a while, letting us not only gain experience but reap the benefits of having that experience. My deck had 0 card draw or removal, so all I could really do was attack, and Calamity was so easily blockable. Unless you have like Victory's Herald out. Still, if you build decks around some of these guys, I bet the results would be pretty striking, especially Marin and Mizzix. Okay, that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage of the Commander decks this year. I know I asked you last time who your favorites were, but it's been a little while. Any new favorites? Okay, let's clone head out.